Okay, 3 weeks now since my last video, so we're well overdue, more than overdue actually, for another video. So here it is today, another episode of the Flat Foot Fix, and today we're going to be talking about plantar fasciitis a little bit. I'm going to show you guys some stretches that I do that I don't really do necessarily for plantar fasciitis, but I kind of do as a warm-up, as a stretch for my feet, and they are good for plantar fasciitis. So first of all, let's talk a little bit about what plantar fasciitis is. A lot of people, whether you're flat-footed or if you have high arches, you might have plantar fasciitis. So if you have foot pain kind of in the arch of your foot, maybe near your heel, then you might have plantar fasciitis. You may even know that you have plantar fasciitis. And the first thing that most people will tell you about plantar fasciitis is that it's an overuse injury. They say, you know, a lot of doctors, some physical therapists will say, you know, it's a overuse injury, so you have to use it less. You know, you have to rest, you have to ice it, and hopefully it'll just go away on its own. But that isn't the way to fix plantar fasciitis. So let's talk about what an overuse injury actually entails. The plantar fascia is sort of a band an area of connective tissue that gets inflamed during plantar fasciitis. That's what, you know, fasciitis is, inflammation of the fascia. And the reason this happens, it is because of overuse. And it's because there's too much tension on the fascia itself. Now, the reason that it hurts and that gets inflamed is because the plantar fascia isn't meant to do that much work. It's not meant to be holding up your body, and it's not meant to be the sole mechanism, or like kind of the only, the lone sort of cable or structure that holds your foot in position when you're walking and running and doing all those things. It's not supposed to do that. It's actually more of a passive structure. So the reason that the plantar fascia gets inflamed is because the other muscles in the foot, so the reason that the plantar fascia gets inflamed is because the muscles in the foot aren't doing their job correctly. And all of that work that should be done by the muscles in the foot is in fact falling on the plantar fascia now. So of course it gets upset, it's angry, it is complaining to HR. It's not a happy camper, you know, its colleagues have abandoned it, so to speak. So it gets inflamed, and then you get pain, and your doctor tells you to walk less or do X activity less. So the stretches I'm going to show you today are going to help you kind of feel and see the muscles that you should be using when you're walking, doing any activity on your feet, so that we can take the stress off of the plantar fascia and put it onto the muscles properly. And this, of course, is something that can be used in conjunction with the other exercises that you guys have seen in the other episodes of this series. So without further ado, let's just get right into it. All right, so here is the first stretch we're going to be doing today. You're going to take your foot, grab it with your hand, a couple of fingers, and you're just going to pull the toe back into extension. The big toe, that is. So this is toe extension. That applies to all the toes. You can pull them all back into extension and all into flexion. But for this purpose, for the purposes of this stretch, we're just going to be doing it with the big toe. And so what you can see when I do this stretch is that immediately the tendon associated with the big toe kind of lights up in the arch of the foot. And the reason this is important is because this is a natural part. This extension of the toe, this is a natural part of walking and running. And people with plantar fasciitis who may either be flat-footed or have really high arches, they're lacking the ability to do this, and they're lacking the ability of the muscles to get them in and out of this position. So of course, it makes a lot of sense that all of that work that normally would have been done by the muscles to get you here and out of it when you're walking and running, etc. It's all being taken up by the plantar fascia, and so it's no mystery as to why it would hurt. I mean, it's an absolute travesty. So again, very simple. That's all it is. That's all it is. And what you can do is you can pull it back into extension. Wherever you're comfortable, kind of get a nice stretch to the arch of the foot there. Hold for 3 to 5 seconds. Relax. Again, 3 to 5 seconds. And you can really do this as many times as you like. I would definitely try this as either a warm-up before you do other foot exercises, or you can do this before you go to sleep. This is kind of just a nice, gentle stretch, trying to get a little bit further each time. And it'll help you, again, see and feel what's going on in the arch of your foot and what we can be looking for when we're doing all our other exercises. So there it is. That's the first version. I'm going to show you 2 more versions. Okay, so for the second stretch, the second progression, we're going to need a ball. Now, you can use any ball you like. You can use a racquetball, tennis ball. I've got a lacrosse ball because I like the way, like it's, you know, it's more compact, kind of dense, harder than a racquetball or a tennis ball. But you can use whatever you want as long as it allows you to do what we're about to do here. So, all you're going to do is take the ball, put it under your big toe like so, and you can see that we're doing the same thing here. We're working on big toe extension because that's lacking in a lot of people with plantar fasciitis, whether they're flat-footed or have high arches. So we're going to put the ball under the toe, and what we're going to do instead of moving the toe itself is we're going to be moving at the ankle and a little bit at the knee to get kind of like a top-down manipulation here, or whatever, stretch here, as opposed to moving the toe itself, right? So it's going to look like this. And so with this one, you should definitely feel a stretch in the arch of the foot, but also in the deep calf. You'll feel some stretch there, some tension. And this one you can kind of just oscillate in and out of it, play around, see how far you can get. And that's all there is to it. Now for the third and final progression of this stretch, we're going to be in a like a gait stance. So essentially like we're going to be walking. So you're going to have your feet split, about how far you would have them if you were going to, walk. But we're not going to walk, we're just going to have our feet planted here. So what we're going to be working on is the back foot. We're going to be working again on big toe extension, and we're going to work on activating and pushing through those muscles that we just worked on or stretched with the ball. So what we're going to do is we're going to act like we're going to go take a step, and we're going to push off the big toe. The foot's not going to come off the ground, but I do want you to actively push off of that big toe to get your heel off the ground. Then you should be actively pushing through that big toe the entire time you're doing this exercise / stretch, whatever you want to call this one. And so what you should feel is, of course, tension through the arch of the foot, and also, again, through those deep calf muscles that we just felt with the lacrosse ball or whatever ball you have. So again, press through the big toe constantly, like you're just going to go take a step. Because this is what should be occurring when we walk. You should be pressing through the big toe. That's what's supposed to happen in normal gait when you walk. However, if you're flat-footed or have high arches, you may have a tendency to walk without extending that back big toe, without doing this. A lot of people, through one way or another, they actually walk without this at all. And so I encourage you to even maybe look in a mirror or record yourself walking barefoot to see what happens. But a lot of people walk like this. I'm exaggerating, but they barely get any extension. They get to about here, and they pick up the foot and move it, instead of getting a nice extension and then pushing off that big toe, boom, into the next step. Something to think about, something to pay attention to. There it is, that's the third progression. All right guys, so there you have it. 3 progressions for plantar fasciitis. You can, even if you don't have plantar fasciitis, These three kind of stretch progressions are just really great for activating a lot of the muscles in your feet, for getting used to, again, seeing and feeling the muscles we're going to be using when we walk, when we do anything. So I'd really recommend, even if you don't have plantar fasciitis, to work on these. If you do have plantar fasciitis, it's the same thing. We're just trying to get you to feel and see the muscles that we want to be using instead of the plantar fascia. For all of these, you can hold them if you'd like, or you can oscillate if you'd like, or you can do small holds. It's really up to you. Progress up to that third one where you're going to, almost like you're going to go take a step, and try to work that in as you get more and more comfortable with it. Try to work that into your actual walking. See if you can push off that big toe. If you can get big toe extension, pushing off that big toe and propelling yourself forward that way. Because that's kind of the goal we're looking for. All right, there it is. Another episode of the Triple F in the books. If you have any questions, email thethadtube@gmail.com. If you'd like me to talk about anything or you have any questions, anything like that, subscribe, like, comment, share. And I'll see you next time.